Welcome to Catholic News World.
Welcome to Catholic News World. Please subscribe to our channel. My name is Steph. Here are this week's breaking news headlines.
Pope Francis was taken by ambulance to the Gemelli Hospital in Rome, and his audiences scheduled for the next 2 days were cancelled. The Pope held the usual Wednesday general audience in St. Peter's Square. Immediately afterwards he returned to his residence, Casa Santa Marta, but suddenly cancelled the interview that he was supposed to record. Then he was taken by ambulance to the Gemelli Hospital. Several updates from the Vatican reveal that the Pope was diagnosed with bronchitis. He was given antibiotics and is doing much better. Pope Francis had pizza with the medical staff and is expected to be back at the Vatican on Saturday and be present for Palm Sunday Mass. While in the hospital, the Pope visited the pediatric ward and baptized a newborn baby named Miguel Angel. He gave the children chocolate, rosaries and a book about Jesus. Pope Francis is touched by the many messages received and expresses his gratitude for the closeness and prayers. Bishop Marcazzo reports attacks of schools and convents of Catholic nuns and priests in Nazareth, the Holy Land. The former Patriarchal Vicar Auxiliary Bishop Marcazzo says tensions are escalating at worrying speed. Christian church representatives, in the Holy Land, are trying to calm down and avoid polemics after the recent incidents in Nazareth. The local situation is extremely tense due to the dispute over judicial reform in Israel and represents a complete novelty, reported Auxiliary Bishop Giacinto Bulos Marcazzo, the former Patriarchal Vicar of the Latins in Jerusalem, to the news portal Asia News. Marcazzo expressed his gratitude that the city's leading imams condemned the attacks on Christian institutions. According to local church representatives, 5 masked men armed with sticks tried to force their way into a school run by the Don Bosco sisters in Nazareth last Thursday. When a nun opened the door for them, she was asked to wish them a happy Ramadan and to convert to Islam. When the nun refused, the attackers are said to have hit the gate with their sticks. They fled when the police were called. A week earlier there had been shots at the school and the convent of the Franciscan nuns. And last Sunday, according to Auxiliary Bishop Emeritus Marcazzo, during Mass an intruder asked a priest to recite the Quran. The Maronite minister refused to comply, after which the young man began to pray and was eventually persuaded by a group of people approaching him to stop and go home to avoid further tension. Marcazzo emphasized that Christian schools in Nazareth had never been attacked in the recent past. In response to the events, the General Secretariat of Christian Schools in Israel launched a general strike in all institutions in Jesus' hometown on Monday. Discussions on sectarian violence and ways to combat fundamentalism were on the agenda for Tuesday, and a press conference on the topic No to Violence is to be held. A statement from the Bishops' Conference is also expected, it said. The attacks came amid an ongoing climate of high tension surrounding Israel's controversial judicial reform, which has sparked a wave of protests. Added to this are the clashes between Israelis and Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, which have recently been fueled by a series of provocative gestures, as well as attacks by Jewish extremists on places of worship and Christian centers. In recent weeks, for example, a Protestant cemetery on Mount Zion in Jerusalem has been desecrated, a Maronite church devastated and an Orthodox priest attacked with an iron bar near the Marian tomb in the Kidron Valley. In view of the frequent cases of intolerance against Christians, the former Patriarchal Vicar highlighted the attitude of 2 key imams of Nazareth, who had strongly condemned the incidents. Israel is currently experiencing an escalation of tensions that is surprising because of its speed. Even if this development has not claimed any fatalities, on the Christian side, at least for the moment, concerns about it remain. The Vatican has formally condemned the colonialism within the Doctrine of Discovery. The Doctrine of Discovery involved granting European monarchs ownership rights in newly discovered lands and sovereign and commercial rights over indigenous peoples due to first discovery by Europeans as established international law. The Holy See released a statement on the Doctrine of Discovery and says that it is not part of the teaching of the Catholic Church. The Catholic bishops of the USA and Canada have also issued statements joining in the condemnation of the Doctrine of Discovery. The statement explains, The Church is also aware that the contents of these documents were manipulated for political purposes by competing colonial powers in order to justify immoral acts against indigenous peoples that were carried out, at times, without opposition from ecclesiastical authorities. It is only just to recognize these errors, acknowledge the terrible effects of the assimilation policies and the pain experienced by indigenous peoples, and ask for pardon. Furthermore, Pope Francis has urged, never again can the Christian community allow itself to be infected by the idea that one culture is superior to others, or that it is legitimate to employ ways of coercing others. In no uncertain terms, the Church's magisterium upholds the respect due to every human being. The Catholic Church therefore repudiates those concepts that fail to recognize the inherent human rights of indigenous peoples, including what has become known as the legal and political doctrine of discovery. More recently, the Church's solidarity with indigenous peoples has given rise to the Holy See's strong support for the principles contained in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. The U.S. and Canadian bishops commented, "As a Church, it is important for us to fully understand how our words have been used and misused to justify acts that would be abhorrent to Jesus Christ. We hope for more dialogue among Indigenous and Catholic scholars to promote greater and wider understanding of this difficult history." To that end, the USCCB and the Canadian Conference of Catholic Bishops are exploring how they may support an academic symposium. This initiative has also received encouragement from the Pontifical Committee for Historical Sciences, the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development, and the Dicastery for Education and Culture. Hate crimes targeting a religion have reached a peak in Canada, with crimes against Catholics up 260%. A report released by Statistics Canada, which produces government statistical data. According to their data, the number of police-reported hate crimes targeting a given religion rose from 530 in 2020 to 884 in 2021, representing a 67% increase. This finding marked the highest number of hate crimes targeting a religion since comparable data have been recorded. Police-reported hate crimes targeting the Jewish community was up 47%. The Muslim community 71% and the Catholic community up 260% when compared with the previous year. Over 1,000 people attended a 6-mile-long Eucharistic procession in Los Angeles, California. Archbishop Jose Gomez, former head of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, led the faithful through the streets. This procession was part of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops' events for the National Eucharistic Revival, which hopes to bring back belief and love of the Eucharist across the United States. The Archdiocese of Los Angeles celebrates Mass in 40 different languages every Sunday.
Watch our programme every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Catholic News World channel. God bless.
Please subscribe to Catholic News World's YouTube channel. Thanks and God bless.